My sons, listen to me. Do not ring the bell in the market square, because it is dangerous.
This is the bell Mama said we should not touch. I will touch it. I want to see the consequences.
You will pay with your life.
The market of Amuchi was the heart of everything, bright, busy, and full of color. You could hear the clatter of tin buckets, the hum of voices bargaining, and the sweet cry of hawkers calling, "Buy tomatoes!" Sweet like honey. Life in Amuchi was simple, joyful, and full of love. No one ever imagined that anything dark could live inside such beauty. Kachi was 10 years old and curious about everything. He was tall for his age, thin like sugarcane, with big brown eyes that always looked like they were asking questions. Every Saturday, he followed his mother to the market. She sold palm oil in yellow jerrycans, her hands always shining red from work. Kachi would sit under her table, watching the world move around him. Women arguing over prices, men carrying baskets on their heads, and small children licking mangoes, their mouths orange and happy. He loved the market more than any other place. To him it was alive, breathing, laughing, whispering secrets through the wind. The market was not just a place to buy and sell. It was a place of friendship, laughter, and stories. People shared jokes, helped one another, and danced when the drums played on Fridays. But one small thing made Amuchi special. The market never truly looked dark, even after sunset. Glowed softly, as if holding its breath, waiting for something unseen. Kachi noticed her one day. She sat at the far end of the market beside the broken fence. Her hair was gray, her eyes bright but sad, and beside her was a small empty mat. No goods, no baskets, no trays. Just her. Yet every time someone passed, she smiled like she knew them deeply. Some people greeted her, others avoided her eyes. One man whispered to Kachi, "She is called Mama Nulu. Don't talk to her at night." Kachi frowned. "Why?" The man shook his head. "Because the market is not the same at night, my boy." It began like a small joke among children. They said the market never closed completely. At midnight, traders you couldn't see came out to sell things you couldn't buy. "Like what?" Kachi asked his friend Ada. "Like shadows," she said, giggling. "And maybe dreams." But one night, Kachi's uncle told him a different story by the fire. He said his father once heard bells ringing at midnight, even though no one was there. The next morning, his uncle said, his basket was full of strange coins, black ones that turned into dust when he touched them. Kachi's heart beat faster. He couldn't sleep that night. At the center of the market stood a large wooden post. On it hung a bell, old, green, and covered in cobwebs. Long ago, it was used to open and close the market each day. Now, no one touched it. "Why don't they ring it anymore?" Kachi asked his mother. She shook her head. "Because the last person who did lost his voice forever." Kachi laughed, thinking she was joking. But when he looked closer at her eyes, she wasn't smiling. That night, Kachi dreamed he stood beside the bell. A cold hand touched his shoulder and whispered, "If you ring it once, you will see what others can't." He woke up sweating. One night, Kachi couldn't sleep. He heard a soft humming outside his window, like many voices singing far away. He tiptoed out quietly, passing his sleeping mother. When he reached the edge of the market, he froze. The place that should have been empty was glowing faintly. Shadows moved between the stalls, carrying baskets that shimmered like glass. There was no sound of footsteps, only the rustle of air. Kachi hid behind Mama Tere's corn table, his heart beating like a drum. He squinted, trying to understand what he was seeing. The shapes moved like smoke, bending and fading. One of them laughed, a thin, cold laugh that made his body stiffen. Then a voice spoke softly. "Fresh dreams for sale. Sweet memories for trade." Another said, "Bring your fears, we pay in silver tears." Kachi's mouth went dry. He wanted to run, but his legs wouldn't move. Suddenly, one shadow turned toward him. It had no face, only two red eyes glowing like fireflies. The voice came again, this time closer. "Do you wish to trade your sleep for knowledge?" Kachi gasped and stumbled backward. He tripped on a basket and fell. Instantly, the glowing eyes vanished and the market turned silent. He woke up on the ground near his mother's stall. The sun was bright. Birds chirped like nothing strange had happened. His mother shouted, "Kachi! Where were you last night?" He lied quickly. "I fell asleep here, Mama." She frowned but didn't press further. As they arranged palm oil bottles, Kachi noticed something strange. A single black coin on the table, glowing faintly before turning to dust. He swallowed hard. Was it real? Or just a dream? Later that day, Kachi went to find the old woman who sold nothing. She was sitting in her usual place, smiling softly. He whispered, "Mama Nulu, I saw them." Her smile faded. "You shouldn't have gone, my child." "Who are they?" he asked. She looked toward the forgotten bell. "They are the traders who never stopped. When the world sleeps, they continue. They sell time, youth, love, and sometimes souls." Kachi's heart thumped. "But why?" "Because long ago," she said slowly, "a foolish man made a wish that the market of Amuchi should never die." He stared at her. "What happened to him?" Her eyes darkened. "He became the first trader." That night, Kachi heard a whisper again, right beside his bed. It said softly, "Come back, little boy. The market misses you." He buried his head under the pillow, shaking. But deep inside, curiosity still burned like a candle. He wanted to know the truth, who the traders were, what they sold, and why they wanted him. For 3 nights, Kachi tried to stay away from the market. He helped his mother wash bottles, fetched water, and played with his friends. But every night, the whisper returned. Sometimes it came from the window. Sometimes from under the bed. "Come back, little boy. The market is waiting," he told his mother, but she only laughed. "You've been listening to too many stories, Kachi. Go to sleep." But deep in his heart, he knew the voice was real. And one night, when thunder rolled across the sky, he decided to go back. He walked carefully toward the market, his feet bare and cold. When he reached the gate, the stalls were glowing again, just like before. But this time, the lights were brighter and the traders were clearer. Their shapes were made of mist and fire. They moved slowly, whispering to one another in voices that sounded like wind through leaves. Kachi hid behind Papa Ikena's shoe stand. His hands trembled, but his eyes stayed wide open. From between the shadows, he saw a small girl walking toward him. She looked about his age, but her eyes were made of clear glass, shining like water. She carried a golden gourd in her hands. "You shouldn't be here," she said softly. "I wanted to see," Kachi whispered. "Who are you?" "I am what was traded," she replied. "Once I was someone's daughter." Kachi frowned. "You mean you were human?" She nodded slowly. "Until my mother wished to stay beautiful forever." She lifted the golden gourd. "Now her beauty lives here and I stay here too." Before Kachi could ask another question, she turned into mist and disappeared. Only the gourd remained on the ground, glowing softly. Kachi reached out to touch it, but the moment his fingers brushed the surface, the market lights flickered. Voices started shouting. "Who touched the gourd? Who dares break the rule?" The ground shook. The bell on the wooden post rang on its own. Dong! 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 Kachi grabbed the gourd and ran. He didn't stop until he reached his house. When he dropped it on the floor, it rolled and settled, glowing faintly in the dark. That night, he dreamed of hundreds of faces without eyes, all whispering his name. The next morning, Amuchi didn't feel the same. Mama Terre, the woman who roasted corn, didn't come to her spot. People said she had fallen sick suddenly. She woke up talking to herself, her daughter said. She kept saying, "They took my laughter." Popeye Kenna looked worried too. His shoes stopped shining. Even the goats were quiet. Kachi carried the gourd in a bag, afraid to tell anyone. He thought maybe if he returned it, everything would go back to normal. But that night, the voice came again. "You took what was not yours. Now something must be given back." The next day, strange things began to happen. People saw coins appear on their tables, shiny and black. Some thought it was a blessing and used them to buy things. But anyone who touched them fell sick before night. Kachi's mother found one beside her oil jerrycan. She screamed and threw it away. "It's from the midnight market," she shouted. The villagers started talking. Some said the market was cursed. Some said the gods were angry. But Mama Nulu, the woman who sold nothing, just sat quietly watching the sky. That evening, Kachi went to her again. "Mama Nulu," he whispered, "I touched the golden gourd. Now bad things are happening." Her eyes filled with sorrow. "You have broken the seal, my child. The market remembers your touch." "Can I fix it?" he asked quickly. She nodded slowly. "You must return the gourd before the third moon rises. But beware, the traders will ask for something in return." Kachi felt his heart race. What will they ask for? She looked straight into his eyes. "Something you love." The next day was the strangest in Amuchi's history. At exactly noon, the old market bell, the one no one dared to touch, rang by itself. The sound echoed through the village. Children cried. Chickens scattered. The sky turned gray even though the sun still shone. Kachi's mother grabbed his hand. "Don't go near that market again," she warned, trembling. But Kachi's curiosity was stronger than fear. That night, he packed the golden gourd in a small cloth and whispered, "I'll return it and make everything right." Before sunset, Kachi went to find his friends, Ada, Yuzo, and Tola, children he always played with near the stream. But they weren't there. He asked around, but no one had seen them since the bell rang. Only one small boy said he saw Ada walking toward the market before disappearing into thin air. Kachi's stomach turned cold. Traders were taking people now. He knew what he had to do. He tied the golden gourd around his neck and walked toward the market gate. Closer he got, the louder the air became. It wasn't sound, it was something else, like voices speaking inside his chest. "You took from us, boy," they said. "You opened the path again." Kachi stepped inside the glowing market. The stalls looked taller, darker. The faces were clearer now, some looked human, some didn't. He shouted, "I want to return it." A tall figure stepped forward, dressed in flowing black smoke. Its eyes were like burning coal. "Then trade it," it said. "Every item must have a price." Kachi's lips trembled. "What do you want?" The figure smiled, or maybe it wasn't a smile. Just a crack of light where its mouth should be. "Your laughter," it said. "Give us your laughter and the market will sleep again." Kachi shook his head. "No, that's not fair." The figure moved closer. "Then we will take more. One for each day you delay." Suddenly, he saw faces floating behind the figure. His missing friends, pale and silent, their mouths open but no sound coming out. Kachi's heart broke. He fell to his knees. "I'll do it." The figure reached out, touching his chest gently. A warmth spread through his body, then coldness. When it was over, he opened his mouth to speak. But no sound came out. His laughter was gone. The market lights dimmed slowly. The stalls turned to wood again, the mist faded. The bell stopped ringing. Kachi stood alone, holding the golden gourd. It had turned gray like stone. When he stepped outside, the air felt normal again. The dogs barked, the birds sang. He smiled weakly, but no sound followed. He couldn't laugh, couldn't even hum. The next morning, Mama Tear was well again. Papa Kenna's shoes shone like before. Even the children who vanished returned home, confused but safe. The villagers said the curse had lifted. They celebrated with music and food. But when Kachi tried to laugh along, silence came out. He smiled, but it was empty. Only Mama Nulu looked at him with tears in her eyes. "You saved them, child," she said softly. "But now the market owes you a debt." Days turned to weeks. Kachi never spoke again. People pitied him but didn't understand. At night, he would stand by his window, watching the old bell in the distance. It was quiet now, too quiet. Sometimes he thought he saw shadows moving under the moonlight. Sometimes he heard faint laughter in the wind. His own laughter, trapped somewhere he couldn't reach. He whispered inside his heart, "I gave you my voice. Please let my people live." The joy of Amuchi has faded into quiet fear. Kachi has saved his village but lost a piece of himself. The market sleeps for now. Kachi grew older, but he never spoke again. The children in Amuchi called him the Silent One. He smiled at everyone, helped his mother in the market, and listened more than he ever did before. Though he could not talk, people said his eyes had a strange power. When he looked at someone kindly, their pain would ease. When he frowned, goats stopped eating. It was as if the market had left a small piece of itself inside him. Till, deep in his heart, Kachi missed laughter. He missed the sound of his own voice. Every night, he prayed silently, "Please let me laugh again, even just once." Years passed. The market was calm, peaceful, and bright again. People forgot the strange nights. But one night, during a heavy rain, Kachi woke up to a familiar whisper. "Boy," it said softly, "the debt is not yet paid." His heart froze. He looked outside. The stalls in the distance were glowing faintly again. The market was waking up. He ran through the rain to find Mama Nulu. She was sitting in her hut, lighting a small clay lamp. Her face looked older, tired, almost transparent. "Mama," he wrote on a small slate, "it's happening again." She sighed. "I knew this day would come." She reached under her mat and brought out something wrapped in cloth. It was a small mirror, cracked and old. "In this mirror," she said, "lives the truth about the market." She handed it to him. "When you reach the center, hold it up. You will see who the traitors really are." Kachi looked at her, frightened. She added softly, "And remember, they only take from those who fear them." Kachi walked through the rain until the market stood before him. Lightning flashed. The old bell swung though no wind touched it. When he entered, it was not the same market anymore. The stalls looked endless, stretching into darkness. Each one sold something strange: memories, voices, shadows, hearts. He held the mirror tightly. The whispers surrounded him again. "Welcome back, Silent One. What do you wish to trade tonight?" He raised the mirror. Traders hissed and stepped back. Inside the mirror, Kachi saw something that made his blood run cold. Each trader's face was not a stranger's. They were people of Amuchi, old, long dead. Mama Ter, Papa Ikenna, the village chief. All of them, trading endlessly, trapped between life and shadow. He dropped the mirror in shock. One of the traders spoke with a voice he knew. "My son." It was his father's voice. Kachi froze. His father had died years ago in a farming accident. "You came too close," his father said sadly. "I traded my peace for wealth. I never told your mother." Tears filled Kachi's eyes. The market wasn't just cursed, it was made from the greed of their ancestors. A tall figure appeared again, the same one who took Kachi's laughter. Its eyes burned brighter than before. "You have seen the truth," it said. "Now make your choice." Kachi wrote on the ground with a stick. "What choice?" "Free them," the voice said, "and lose yourself forever. Or walk away, live in peace, and let the market continue its trade." Kachi trembled. He looked at the faces of the trapped souls, people who once laughed, worked, and loved. He thought of his mother, of Mama Nulu, of all the children who would live after him. He took a deep breath. Then, silently, he picked up the cracked mirror again. He raised it high and pointed it toward the bell. The market screamed. The stalls caught fire, but not the kind that burned. It was light that freed. The faces turned to smoke and drifted upward like butterflies. Kachi felt his chest grow heavy, like something was being pulled out of him. He heard his father's voice once more, soft and kind. "My son, you have ended the market." Then everything went silent. When the villagers woke, they found the market empty. The stalls were gone. The bell had melted into ash. Only a small cracked mirror lay on the ground. And beside it, Kachi, lying still, his eyes closed but smiling peacefully. His mother knelt beside him, crying. But when she touched his face, she felt warmth. His lips were curved in a faint smile, as if he had just laughed for the first time in years. They buried him beside the market gate. The villagers built a stone around the spot, carved with words. He closed what greed opened. Many years later, children still played in Imuchi. They ran, sang, and told stories about the boy who silenced the market. Whenever the wind blew through the village, it made a soft sound, like laughter echoing from far away. Mothers told their children, "Do not trade what you cannot afford to lose." And no one ever built a market there again. But sometimes on quiet nights, when the moon looked like an eye, people said they could hear the bell, just one faint ring, as if thanking the boy who paid the price. Curiosity without caution brings danger. Some doors are closed for a reason. Greed is a chain that binds generations. What we do in secret can haunt those who come after us. True courage is not in fighting for yourself, but in saving others even when it costs you everything. Silence can be stronger than words. Sometimes the quietest person carries the loudest truth. Every trade in life demands payment. Choose what you give and what you take wisely. What would you do if offered what your heart desires, but it costs someone else's peace? Do we still trade invisible things today, time, trust, honesty, for what we think will make us rich? The market of the world never truly closes. Each of us must decide what we are willing to sell and what we must protect at all costs. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you might not hear my voice again, but if you are, then you are growing every day. Check my page for more interesting stories. Thanks for watching.